Well, I was just thinking, yeah, I mean, what was I actually thinking about? I'm just old. Well, when I left school in '82, I had to go to college because there weren't any jobs. I mean, one of my friends got a job as an apprentice because he wrote to the company without being asked and said, will you take me on as an apprentice? And he got the job. My mother wouldn't let me do that. She said, you're not doing that. It's cheeky. If they wanted an apprentice, they'd advertise for one. But he got him the job. But that was the thing. His mum died young, and I think I'd lost contact with him by then. And that was the thing. He had to leave the apprenticeship because it just didn't pay enough. I mean, I think I was driving a milk van for £60 a week when I was 17, and some of my friends on YTS and YOP schemes, what was it, £17 a week? Yeah, but they got training. Yeah, it wasn't much, and my brother used to moan a bucket full because he was a junior clerk. He got £30 a week top line, and I got 60. But who's done better? My brother, because it took him a long time, but he did well out of it. And the kids who did YOP schemes in YTS, yeah, it was low paid, like an apprenticeship, but they're all tradesmen now. And I was eventually accepted to go to polytechnic or university, and I haven't got anything. I've hardly earned. I earned a lot to start with in manual jobs, but they were only ordinary jobs. But a lot of kids a lot of the kids of my age, they were my age, are way ahead of me now. I mean, I didn't know much because that's the thing. I was brought up by a Victorian. They weren't educated well, and in those days they really were kept in the dark. They weren't told much or anything, but that was how they got them to do things. It might sound horrible, but it's like I'd say, in World War One, if they were told to climb out the trench and face the enemy, and they would get shot at, they wouldn't know what was shooting at them. They wouldn't know about machine guns because, they had Gatling guns in World War One. They were like the first machine guns. They were quite primitive, but they were effective. The soldiers probably didn't know they had them. They did gunshots, but they wouldn't have realised they were all coming from the same gun. And that was how they got them to do it. And the thing was, they knew if they didn't do that, they'd be shot the next day. And they'd probably everyone in the local area where they lived would find out. And I think the relatives were actually sent a white feather each to say, he's a coward, he wouldn't do it. And that's the thing, he wouldn't be a coward. But yeah, I couldn't have done that. I'd have been shot. Well, it didn't matter really, did it? You got shot either way. If you were lucky, if you did what you were told, you possibly wouldn't get shot, but the chances are you would. Although quite a lot of them survived, but I couldn't have done that because I can take, aching muscles and that, but apparently the pain from a bullet is it's horrendous. They never sort of portray it properly in films and movies and television programs and that because they wouldn't be allowed to because it would be horrific. I have seen footage. It was on telly. It was legal. It was, I think it was a World War One soldier who had been shot, and the screams were blood curdling in his face, and that it was horrible. They wouldn't allow them to show that in a film or any TV program because it would be offensive. When somebody does get hurt like that, it's a lot worse than they can actually show. But you get people watching snuff videos. I've heard about this. I wouldn't do it. It's disrespectful to the dead, and particularly soldiers and airmen and sailors and things like that. It's horrible to watch stuff like that. But I've heard. I don't know whether it actually happens because it could be a bit sort of dramatic. But I've heard of people buying videos, and all it is, it's World War One soldiers being shot. It's illegal, and they shouldn't be doing it. But some people enjoy that sort of thing, but I don't. I faint at the sight of blood. I always have done. Doesn't mean I'm a wimp. It's just my makeup. It isn't deliberate. It isn't because of my feminine or anything. It's just genetic. Some people do, some people don't. And if you're a bloke, it's terrible, it's bad. And the first time it happened, it was in front of a class full of kids. Well, my friend who was sat next to him, I went into the room, there was a sheep's lungs on the table. I didn't even know what they were. To me, it was just some animal's innards. And my mate said he felt my head hit the middle of his back, and he sort of went like that, shoved me backwards, because he thought I was having a larking about. And he said I was rigid, I rolled off the desk, bounced off a chair and landed on the floor, and all the kids were screaming. They thought I'd died. And I did it twice. They said, you don't have to do this again. I thought, I'll have another go. I said, I'll have another go. And the school I had case, really big lad, he said, he was saying to me a few years ago, I said, I remember picking you up off the floor when you set to run out of the classroom as you fainted. And I ran straight to a completely glass cabinet. It was about 8 feet tall, about 4 feet wide. It was just a framework with glass doors, glass sides and everything. And I ran straight into it and I bounced off it. I was lucky. I could have been horrifically cut or gashed or everything, anything like that, but I wasn't. But yeah, I mean, they said after that, you don't have to do it anymore, and I didn't. I think I did. I watched the sheep dissection. We dissected two of us at two to one. We all two of us had an ox hat to dissect, and I think did I faint? That was the second time I fainted. And before that, we had to cut fish eyes up. I managed that because sadly I used to do horrible things to fish at the riverside when I was about 7, but. Possibly not many kids would, but I don't know why I did that. It was just 7-year-olds do things like that. And Dad used to moan a bucket full, but well, you hook them anyway, don't you? And that'll be painful for them. But well, I've seen cats play with half-dead birds and stuff, chicks and stuff. They do, and killer whales do it with the tails, don't they? They flip them about with the tails. It's sort of well, animal, but animals do it as well. It's like well. Cats do it, they're like catching the prey time and time again. They hone the skills, and that's why they do it. But I don't know how people do it. You'd expect us to be more sophisticated than that, but well, they do.